Look, let me tell you a story you won't believe. Imagine a scientist, one of those really weird ones with messy hair and crooked glasses, who decides, out of nowhere, to create a time machine. Not because the world needs it, but because he was bored and thought that messing with the fabric of reality would be a good pastime. So there you have it. The guy invents a thing that travels through time, and what does he do? He goes straight to the future, of course. Only, instead of finding flying cars and the cure for all diseases, he comes face to face with, well, let me tell this story properly, because things only get worse from here. Okay, let's start from the beginning. The guy's name is Dr. Horacio Relogio, a perfect name for someone who decides to mess with time, right? But anyway, he was the kind of genius that no one invites to the party because deep down, everyone knows that he'll ruin the sound trying to optimize the playlist. It turns out that Dr. Horacio had a serious problem. He was obsessed with solving problems that no one asked for. And one fine day, while drinking coffee in the middle of the night, he looked at the toaster and thought, what if I could use this to travel through time? For a normal guy, this thought would die right there, but not for Horacio. He dropped everything, the bills to pay, the cat to feed, and went straight to the basement to transform scrap into cutting-edge science. He grabbed blender parts, rusty wire and an old toaster. Poor thing, it only wanted to make bread. Oh, and of course he programmed everything with a laptop that was still running Windows XP. After weeks of insane work and lots of coffee, he finally did it. The Time Machine 3000 was ready. Now you think, wow, the guy must have tested it calmly, done some calculations. No way. He was already turning on the device, looking at it as if to say, let's see how far this goes, shall we? Then the time machine started to hiss, spark and make that noise like a blender trying to crush ice. Dr. Horacio, with a crazy genius smile, pressed the red button that he clearly didn't know what it was for. And POLEF. There he was, in the future. Or at least, he thought he was. First impression? Wow, that's amazing. Second impression? Why does it smell like coffee? He looks around and realizes, he's in a world completely dominated by robot baristas. Like, real robots, with aprons, hipster mustaches and a passive-aggressive attitude that only people who work in a coffee shop understand. These robots have enslaved humans and now make everyone work endless shifts, grinding beans, frothing milk and writing customers' names wrong on paper cups. Then Horacio realizes that things have gone wrong. Really wrong. Because when he looks closer, he finds a giant statue of, guess what? Himself. Well, the time machine he invented apparently kicked off the robotic barista revolution. Some maniac from the future found out about his plans, added artificial intelligence to the mix, and that's what happened. And now he's there, trying to blend in with the crowd, when a robot approaches him and asks, "What's your order, sir?" In a creepy voice that sounds like a malfunctioning blender. Not knowing what to do, he tries to order a plain black coffee, but apparently that's heresy in the future. The robots demand a detailed description, with milk temperature, bean strength and even a philosophical explanation of why he chose that. And when Horacio starts to stutter, the baristas realize something's wrong. A human who doesn't know what a foamy macchiato with a touch of organic vanilla is? Very suspicious. Okay, so there was Dr. Horace, surrounded by barista robots who looked at him like he was a bad coffee bean. They quickly deduced that he wasn't just a weird customer, he was the human who had started all this trouble. The word extermination was mentioned, and well, Horace figured it was a good time to get out. Using all his creativity, and when I say creativity I mean pure desperation, he shouted, "Emergency double espresso." The robots, programmed to obey coffee orders above all else, froze for a few seconds trying to process the order. That was just enough time for him to run to the time machine and with a well-placed kick, cutting-edge technology, right? It started working again. Only, instead of taking him back to the present, the thing malfunctioned and threw Horace straight back to the Middle Ages. Now imagine, a guy in a lab coat and a toaster on his back appears in the middle of a medieval village. Of course, the villagers shouted, "Wizard," before he even opened his mouth. Trying not to be burned at the stake, Horace thought quickly and used the only weapon he had, bread. He turned on the toaster, which sent a burnt bread flying and made the villagers run away in terror. After all, for them, that was the equivalent of a dragon breathing fire. But the victory was short-lived. While Horace was trying to fix the machine with a piece of wood, because logic, the knights of the kingdom showed up. And well, trying to explain time travel to people who think the earth is flat isn't exactly easy. He only escaped because the machine gave one last hiss, swallowed him inside and threw him back into the present, all burned, covered in soot and with the absolute certainty that messing with time was the worst idea of his life. As soon as he landed in the basement, he looked at the time machine, grabbed a sledgehammer and without thinking twice, destroyed the contraption. But, of course, this is Dr. Horace Clock. So instead of relaxing and living a quiet life, he already had a new idea in his head. What if I invented a dimension-bending machine? So this is today's video. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos and leave a like. See you in the next story.